In this last Sunday of 2020, we welcome each other to this space. And we welcome all the contradictory things we are carrying with us at the end of this year. If we bring grief at all that has been lost and a strengthened faith in community, we welcome each other. If we bring frustrations at the state of our world and hope at the change just around the corner, we welcome each other. If we bring struggles with isolation and a newfound fluency in the language of solitude, we welcome these things in each other. And as always, we welcome the diverse beliefs we bring to this circle, and we welcome the creative potential found in the space between those beliefs. Today's service is based on the old Edward R. Murrow radio show, This I Believe, and we have an audio clip to introduce the concept. So pull up your chair to your old-fashioned radio, turn the dial to make the station come in just right, and have a listen.
This I Believe. By that name, we bring you a new series of radio broadcasts presenting the personal philosophies of thoughtful men and women in all walks of life. In this brief time each night, a banker or a butcher, a painter or a social worker, people of all kinds who need have nothing more in common than integrity, a real honesty, will talk out loud about the rules they live by, the things they have found to be the basic values in their lives. We hardly need to be reminded that we are living in an age of confusion. A lot of us have traded in our beliefs for bitterness and cynicism, or for a heavy package of despair, or even a quivering portion of hysteria. Opinions can be picked up cheap in the marketplace, while such commodities as courage and fortitude and faith are in alarmingly short supply. Around us all, now high like a distant thunderhead, now close upon us with the wet, choking intimacy of a London fog, there is an enveloping cloud of fear. There is a physical fear, the kind that drives some of us to flee our homes and burrow into the ground in the bottom of a Montana valley, like prairie dogs, to try to escape, if only for a little while, the sound and the fury of the A-bombs or the hell bombs or whatever may be coming. There is a mental fear, which provokes others of us to see the images of witches in a neighbor's yard and stampedes us to burn down his house. And there is a creeping fear of doubt of what we have been taught, of the validity of so many things we had long since taken for granted to be durable and unchanging. It has become more difficult than ever to distinguish black from white, good from evil, right from wrong. What truths can a human being afford to furnish the cluttered, nervous room of his mind with when he has no real idea how long a lease he has on the future? It is to try to meet the challenge of such questions that we have prepared these broadcasts. It has been a difficult task and a delicate one. Except for those who think in terms of pious platitudes or dogma or narrow prejudice, and those thoughts we aren't interested in, people don't speak their beliefs easily or publicly. In a way, our project has been an invasion of privacy, like demanding a man to let a stranger read his mail. General Lucius Clay remarked, it would hardly be less embarrassing for an individual to be forced to disrobe in public than to unveil his private philosophy. Mrs. Roosevelt hesitated a long time. What can I possibly say that will be of any value to anybody else, she asked us. And a railway executive in Philadelphia argued at first that we might as well try to engrave the Lord's Prayer on the head of a pin as to attempt to discuss anything thoughtfully in the space of 5 minutes. Yet, these people and many more have all made distinctive contributions of their beliefs to this series. You will hear from that inspiring woman, Helen Keller, who, despite her blindness, has lived a far richer life than most of us. From author Pearl Buck, sculptor William Zorak, businessmen and labor leaders, teachers and students. Perhaps we should warn you that there is one thing you won't hear, and that is a pat answer for the problems of life. We don't pretend to make this time a spiritual or psychological patent medicine chest where one can come and get a pill of wisdom to be swallowed like an aspirin to banish the headaches of our time. This reporter's beliefs are in a state of flux. It would be easier to enumerate the items I do not believe in than the other way around. And yet, In talking to people, in listening to them, I have come to realize that I don't have a monopoly on the world's problems. Others have their share, often far, far bigger than mine. This has helped me to see my own problems in truer perspective. And in learning how others have faced their problems, this has given me fresh ideas about how to tackle mine. I hope, as you listen to future programs on This I Believe, that they may be of assistance to you in a similar way.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world.
Good morning. My name is Anastasia Compton, and I am your worship associate today. If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to light it at this point. The chalice lighting words today are from the poet Ibn Arabi, A Garden Among the Flames. Oh, marvel, a garden among the flames. My heart can take on any form. A meadow for gazelles, a cloister for monks, for the idols, sacred ground. Kaaba for the circling pilgrim. The tables of the Torah, the scrolls of the Quran. I profess the religion of love. Wherever its caravan turns along the way, that is the belief. That is the faith I keep. Now, please join us for the Chalice Response Spirit of Life. Today's version is from All Souls Unitarian, Washington, D.C., and is sung in Spanish, ASL, and English.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chayla Sloper, your Congregational Life Facilitator, and I have today's announcements. So today is also the last Sunday for our theme of stillness. And I just wanted to let you know that this week the staff will be enjoying a different kind of stillness as the office will be closed. If there are any pastoral emergencies, do feel free to call. We'll get in touch with you as soon as possible. I'll be checking voicemails throughout the week. So we have some ways to stay connected. Oh, yes, first, if there are any of you visiting here for the first or second time, or just want to let us know that you're here, we do have a virtual visitor form that we'll have in the chat. And this is also a way to sign up for our communications. So we send out generally an email every week to let folks know what's going on. And so I do want to let you know that relative to this week, some of our goings on Tuesday night, Rochelle Indra invites you to a discussion, some information from her, and discussion about stillness and how it benefits our lives, both as a context and as a tool for our self-improvement. And so that's at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night, of course, via Zoom. And the link is on the calendar. And to get to any of those links on the calendar, just type in uufco.org/calendar, and that's how you'll find it. Or you can go to our homepage on the website. So that's Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Then Thursday, excuse me, on New Year's Eve at 3 p.m., The Poetry Connection Circle invites you to a poetry buffet. Bring a poem that you love and would love to share, and that's also on Zoom, 3 o'clock. Yes, so in January, our diversity, equity, and inclusion group invites you to a winter challenge. So we're taking signups for that now. Just send me an email if you'd like to participate. My email is Chela, CHELA.org, or at uufco.org, sorry. And just let me know if you'd like to participate. So there will be Monday night discussions. There'll be readings twice a week that will be provided by email, and some other opportunities for discussion and sharing your ideas as we work together toward addressing some of the things in our society and culture that have left white people at the top. So we want to dismantle that. And this is right in the heart and in the all of the endeavors of Unitarian Universalism. So that begins on January 18th. Okay, our winter talent show is scheduled for Friday, January 22nd. But so far, I've got only 3 signups. So if you would like to share something, you can either do it recorded, or we'd prefer to have live performances. That'll just be a fun time for the congregation to be together on Friday, January 22nd. Please email me. And then what I want to also emphasize is that we're going to be starting in January. Hopefully, we'll be doing these once a month, but a newcomer's welcome to UUFCO. And so we're looking at Sunday, January 10th, probably at 12:30. So it'll give us a break after the morning service, but where you can meet some folks from the congregation and just hear some basics about who we are and what we're up to here in Central Oregon. So that'll be on January 10th, like I say, probably at 12:30, but that's also a Sunday that Reverend Scott and I are saying we're going to make it invite a friend to church Sunday. So look for information in the ACE. This week's ACE is going to be an abbreviated ACE, but the next week. But mark your calendar for January 10th to invite a friend to church. We have some room in some Soul Matters circles for those of you receiving the Soul Matters packet. I'll have information about that, so look for that this week. And then also we have some chalice circles that we're opening up on Tuesday night or Saturday morning. So if you're interested in getting into a small group to have a monthly contact with other folks from the congregation, we want to make those available to you as well. So here comes 2021. And for this week between New Year's and Christmas, I hope we all just take a big cleansing breath and face into the new year with renewed energy. So with that, I will say blessings on your day.
Good morning. I'm Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. This month, we've been celebrating Advent as we count down to many of the December holidays that you celebrate. And today, we're thinking about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is an African American holiday that starts on the 26th of December and lasts until January 1st. Each day of Kwanzaa is dedicated to a different principle of African heritage. It's a time of endings and beginnings, celebration, and community gathering. The principles of Kwanzaa are similar to some of our UU principles, and they include unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. The name Kwanzaa comes from the Swahili phrase for first fruit, and there is much joy and fruitfulness that comes with being in community with one another. Sharing Advent with you all this month has given me a lot of joy. And so today we're going to remember our joy as we light our final candle in our Advent celebration. So as I light our candles for hope, peace, love, faith, and joy, will you say in your hearts as I say out loud, may we all find joy in our hearts together this day. And maybe some joy every day for all of the days to come in the new year. And so ends our time for all ages today and our Advent celebration this month. So let's all say the Children's Covenant together. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
Each week, our sharing of joys and sorrows allows us to hold each other in empathy and community. Whether you share out loud in the chat box or take this moment to hold something close to your heart, know that your joy is celebrated and your sorrow is embraced. And the chat will now be open.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my need. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all was happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in
My brother was telling me this week that when the Andromeda Galaxy meets up with our Milky Way, billions of years from now, it's thought that because of the distances between the stars, because they're so vast, it's highly unlikely that any of those stars will actually crash into each other. This didn't surprise me once I thought about it. What did surprise me is that the thought kept coming up again and again while I was trying to plan my segments of this morning's service. I finally realized that what that image was trying to share with me is that, like the universe, we have so much more space within us than we can imagine. And so much of our experience as a community rests on this. I can share a sorrow and feel like it's not upstaged by somebody's joy. I can share a joy without feeling like I'm stepping on somebody's sorrow. And we make spaces within our beliefs for other people's. We make room within one person's mysticism for someone else's rationalism, and room within that rationalism for somebody's God. So, for our moment of prayer and meditation and reflection this morning, I would invite you perhaps to start by taking a deep breath. Maybe roll your shoulders or move a little. And from that sense of physical expansiveness, be aware of where those pockets of spaciousness exist within your beliefs. And as we head into 2021, use this sense of space to recognize that while our beliefs are real, they're visible as they move through each other's space, they tug on each other's gravity, they may not actually need to collide all that often.
Thank you, Anastasia. That was beautiful. I want to introduce our statements this morning. Noreen and I will be reading this I believe statements based on a set of guidelines for writing them. As you saw earlier, these started with Edward Murrow, but NPR also continued them for a number of years with Bob Edwards. There is a website, thisibelieve.org, where you can find all kinds, famous people, ordinary people like myself, some of the historical ones. I looked up Eleanor Roosevelt since she was a particular heroine of mine. Right now, Dr. Fauci's is on the front page, as well as links to some of the civil rights leaders' statements. So if you're interested or sparked today, you can look there for further inspiration. So Noreen will be starting with her statement. Welcome, Noreen.
Good morning. Am I on? Am I hearing? Yes? Okay. Kristel, it's funny that you mentioned Eleanor Roosevelt because she's the person that I'm going to read besides my own. So you're in for a treat. And so I will read from 1952, Eleanor Roosevelt's. It seems to me a very difficult thing to put into words the beliefs we hold and what they make you do in your life. I think I was fortunate because I grew up in a family where there was a very deep religious feeling. I don't think it was spoken of a great deal. It was more or less taken for granted that everyone held certain beliefs and needed certain reinforcements of their own strength, and that came through your belief in God and your knowledge of prayer. But as I grew older, I questioned a great many of the things that I knew very well my grandmother, who had brought me up, had taken for granted. And I think I might have been quite a difficult person to live with if it hadn't been for the fact that my husband once said, "It didn't do you any harm to learn those things, so why not let your children learn them? When they grow up, they'll think things out for themselves." And that gave me a feeling that perhaps that's what we all must do. Think out for ourselves what we could believe and how we could live by it. And so I came to the conclusion that you had to use this life to develop the very best that you could develop. I don't know whether I believe in a future life. I believe that all that you go through here must have some value, Therefore, there must be some reason, and there must be some going on. How exactly that happens, I've never been able to decide. There is a future, that I'm sure of. But how? That I don't know. And I came to feel that it didn't really matter that much because whatever the future held, you'd have to face it when you came to it. So, whatever life holds, you have to face it in exactly the same way. And the important thing was that you never let down the doing the best that you were able to. It might be poor because you might not have very much within you to give or to help other people with or to live your life with. But as long as you did the very best that you were able to do, then that was what you were here to do. And that was what you were accomplishing by being here. And so I have tried to follow that out and not to worry about the future or what was going to happen. I think I am pretty much a fatalist. You have to accept whatever comes, and the only important thing is that you meet it with courage and with the best you have to give. And I found that so interesting because it's so timeless. These words that people wrote in 1950 stand true today. So back in January of 2012, I began attending UUFCO. I joined a This I Believe essay writing course offered through the church. I thought it would be so easy. I thought it would be just simple to put my beliefs down. But when writing exercises started and I began digging in to evaluate my beliefs, what I thought I could express in an essay turned out to be about impossible, all except what I wound up writing about, and that was music. The essay is as relevant and true today as it was back in 2012. Just thinking about what I believe fills my heart song with joy and gladness. Music runs through my core being, so much so that I have song lyrics tattooed on both my arms. So here is my This I Believe. I would like to dedicate it to John Denver, who as a singer-songwriter had more influence on me through his passionate words and his songs than any other. The impact on me upon his death was deeply felt, and I will always feel this loss. I believe music marks the timeline of my life. Music is how I recall people and emotions, situations and events. I can find a song for every occasion. For me, a song can sum up unspeakable emotions. The poetic lyrics can grab a hold of my heart and help me release. I love and appreciate how music can connect people. You really are never alone. I can remember being about 3 and singing along to a Beatles song with a small toy guitar, and I still happily sing along to any Beatles song today. As a young child, I can recall my mother singing along to the radio, and she had so much happiness while she sang. It was contagious, and she shared that with my 2 daughters, as well as with me. Cher was one of my idols as an impressionable 5-year-old. That has not changed in all these years. I was a person who marched to my own beat. I was able to fulfill a lifelong dream and saw Cher in concert in Chicago with my 2 daughters and my husband. In 1971, Don McLean's American Pie was playing during swim team practice in the Bronx in New York. I can vividly recall the cold and darkness, the moist, humid windows with the heavy smell of chlorine lingering in your nose. I cannot separate that song from the memories from that time in my life. And so it is with many other songs and artists and albums. As a teen, I once had an all-nighter with a friend, and we spoke philosophically, listening to Cat Stevens. That person's name I cannot recall, but the music most definitely. All throughout high school, I fell asleep every night listening to Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. It was such an important part of my routine. Also in high school, I wanted to be in the marching band, but I didn't play an instrument. That is until I brought in my kazoo. It sounded great, and I was on. While hitchhiking through Europe in the summer of 1982, I remember a lovely French couple who picked me up. They had on the radio, and Simon and Garfunkel Slip Sliding Away was playing. They looked at me with a puzzled look and said, "What does this slip sliding away mean?" And that was an interesting response because I spoke no French. We named our second daughter Jaslyn so we could call her Jazz for the wonderful music that it is. She reminded me that when she was young, a song would come on and I would say, "Name the artist. Who is it?" And you should know this by now. She has a huge bank of music and musicians in her head because of that. In 1999, we got a new Dodge Caravan and we named it Tusk from Fleetwood Mac. See, this music stuff treads deep. In more recent years, I've been privileged to be with my daughters as they experienced their favorite artists in concert. The joy and rush of swaying to the music, the entire audience singing along together, a force, a power truly indescribable. It's felt deep, deep down, a connectedness that definitely holds us together. Whether an event is big or small or ordinary or special, through laughter and tears, music is a constant in my memories. The most current music story was this litter of labs that we had, and it was back in 2012. This was written 8 years ago, so now these puppies are 8. And their names were all related to music. From their birth forward, I played all the music from those musicians for them. And so here's to Ringo and Mac, and Zeppelin, and Mellow Yellow Saffron, and Denver and Stewart, and Arrow and Snoop. I believe music is the marker of my life's content, and I am joyful and grateful for this blessing. As an addendum, last January, my husband of 32 years passed in our local hospice in Bend. I knew the time was close, and I decided to give him a final concert. I pulled up all our favorite songs on YouTube from over the years, and I sang along with them for him. I was able to wish him well and give him a great send-off for about 3 hours. Thank you for listening. And now Chris Patrick is so kind as to play a song for you from me, Poems, Prayers, and Promises by John Denver. Thank you, Chris.
Well, thank you, Noreen. That resonated very strongly with me. I've been a musician since I was 5 years old, and for those considering the talent show, please know that I get butterflies in my tummy every time before I do any performance at all still. I've been lately thinking about my life's time, all the things I've done and how it's been, and I can't help believing in my own mind. I know I'm gonna hate to see it end. I've seen a lot of sunshine, slept out in the rain, spent a night or two all on my own. I've known my lady's pleasures, had myself some friends, spent a night or two in my own home. I have to say it now, it's been a good life all in all. It's really fine to have a chance to hang around and lie there by the fire and watch the evening tire while all my friends and my old lady sit and pass the pipe around and talk of poems, prayers, and promises and things that we believe in. How sweet it is to love someone, how right it is to care. How long it's been since yesterday, what about tomorrow? What about our dreams and all the memories we share? days they pass so quickly now, the nights are seldom long. Time around me whispers when it's cold. The changes somehow frighten me, still I have to smile. It turns me on to think of growing old. But though my life's been good to me, there's still so much to do. So many things my mind has never known. I'd like to raise a family, I'd like to sail away and dance across the mountains on the moon. Yes, I would. I have to say it now, it's been a good life all in all. It's really fun to hang around. Lie there by the fire and watch the evening tire, while all my friends and my old lady sit and watch the sun go down, and talk of poems, prayers, and promises, and things that we believe in. How sweet it is to love someone, how right it is to care. How long it's been since yesterday, and what about tomorrow? What about our dreams and all the memories we share? Thank you.
Thank you, Noreen and Chris. Good morning. My name is Kristel Masterson. And my This I Believe is based on my 30+ years of practicing Native American spirituality. My teachers have been Sweet Medicine Nation, Les and Bright Star Thomas, and Pam Chase, as well as many others. I have completed all the rites of passage to carry a pipe. Those include Inipi, and which is also in English Sweat Lodge, Humbleche, in English Vision Quest, and Sundance. Within the Lakota tradition, there are 7 laws that our teachings are based on, and those are usually introduced in the Inipi Sweat Lodge ceremony. They are health, generations, silence, joy, helping one another, following the 6 directions, and compassion. The first time I went into an Inipi Sweat Lodge, I was enveloped with a sense of coming home. The ceremony felt very familiar to me, as though I had done it many, many times, even though it was my first time. And that started my 30+ year journey. There are many intricate parts of Native American spirituality, or what we commonly call the Red Road. And the part that I want to talk about today is linked to that second law of generations. In most Native American communities and ceremonies, elders and children are included in everything that's done. Both are respected and highly prized and explicitly cared for within those settings. A central belief that runs deep into this idea is practicing and praying into the 7th generation. So what does that mean? Alongside being of service and the rites of passage, I was also fortunate enough to have a deep practice of women's teachings. And in Lakota circles, it's really common to hear these phrases that women are the backbone of the nation and all things are born of women. In the older Lakota tradition, the woman owned the teepee and all the things that went with it. In fact, if there was a break in a relationship, a man might come home and find all his things outside the teepee door, and that was that. Women also cared for the children, and they were her responsibility. Children were highly prized and held precious, and were taught by the women, but also by the grandparents. You may know or may not know that the egg of which you were conceived of was actually created in your mother while she was in vitro in the womb of your grandmother. And these links were recognized by the tribe. So you were connected both to your mother and your grandmother, as well as your children and your grandchildren. And that linkage is this basis of this idea of practicing and praying into the seventh generation. So what did that mean? Well, in older times, it meant that nothing went to waste, that all parts of a buffalo or deer were used, whether it was the things we think of, such as the hide for clothing and the flesh for food, or the things we may not know, which is that the stomach and the bladder were used to carry water. It meant that when plants and roots were gathered for medicine and food, that you didn't go and clear out the whole group, that you left some to go to seed, and that when you returned then the next year, there would be more to harvest. So how do I carry this practice of practicing and praying into the seventh generation today? I try to focus on what kind of world I would want for my great-great-grandchildren, and how all our decisions would be different if we had that focus. I think this is especially needed for those of us in the United States, where we use the lion's share of the world's resources. So I personally choose to work against a single-use, throwaway economy, to reduce, reuse, and repair in my own life, to work for equity so that children may reach the goals that they set for themselves and their families set for them, and to work for a living wage to help families to be stable. I choose to pray in a way as though praying will create a lineage going forward, as I believe my grandmothers prayed for me, but I choose to work in a way as though everything I will do will help to create that future into the seventh generation. I'm going to close with a healing song in Lakota. This would normally be sung 4 times. I'm just going to sing it once. The words basically mean Father Sky, Mother Earth, have this eagle carry these healing prayers to heaven. Lemiacha toka heya makaua jelo hai wamli galeshkawa ehaya weo heya kayo. And we'll end our time today with Soha singing I Believe with Michael Franti. Enjoy.
I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, no matter what you do. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, it will all come back to you. Soldier, Narco, and Michael Franti together, y'all. Medicine visit people. Jacob, coming out.
Yo, stand up and find your own way.
you just become the vision of someone. Remove those shackles right now. You never really fit into them at all. I keep running with that metal on your feet until you fall. Everything that you say becomes the things that you do. Remember what you put out there is built in you. Remember everything is every.
I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, no matter what you do. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe it will all come back to you. Oh.
I kinda been struggling. This fire on my tongue's been challenging. Even the words was been stumbling. So pick your heart up here and walk tall. Blood of deliverance. Everything you say significant. Speak your truth, be spirit. It's your beautiful and bold. So carry on. Everything that you say becomes the things that you do. Remember what you put out there is built in you. Remember everything is everything.
Everything is everything every single day. Remember this and everything you do and everything you say and everything you eat and all the people that you meet. There is life that's reflected back on me. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, no matter what you do. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe it will all come back to you. Oh.
Turn your speakers down and listen to the silence down below. That's the messenger, and that's the only one you really know. And turn my music down, yeah, 'cause it's your turn now. Yo, when it's your turn now, when it's your turn right now. Remember all that you say, it becomes all that you do. Everything that you put out there is built in you up, or it's breaking you down to the ground. But it's your choice now. Yeah, it's your voice now. It's that same sound. Everything that you say becomes the things that you do. Remember what you put out there is built in you. Remember everything is everything.
Thank you, Kristel and Noreen and Chris, for sharing with us. That was just beautiful. And now, at this point, if you've lit a chalice in your home today, please take this opportunity to extinguish it. And please join me in the UUFCO covenant. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And thank you all for joining us today. We would like to invite you to stay for our virtual coffee hour after the service, when we split into smaller breakout rooms for conversation and community, breakout rooms of about 12 minutes each. And this is your chance. The suggested discussion question today is, what might your belief statement include? You'll be automatically assigned to the breakout room at the end of the music. So if you're not going to participate in coffee hour today, go ahead and leave the Zoom before the music ends, and that'll help us form the breakout rooms. And if you would like to support the work of this congregation, there will be a slide with information on how to do so during the music, during the postlude. And you can also go to the website, which is uufco.org. And for the benediction, we will leave you with the words of Dan Gediman from his compilation book, This I Believe. I believe in the pursuit of happiness, not its attainment, not its final definition, but its pursuit. I believe in the journey, not the arrival, in conversation, not monologues, in multiple questions rather than any single answer. I believe in the struggle to remake ourselves and challenge each other in the spirit of eternal forgiveness, in the awareness that none of us knows for sure what happiness truly is, but each of us knows the imperative to keep searching. I believe in the possibility of surprising joy, of serenity through pain, and of homecoming through exile. Thank you all, and blessings on your journey, your conversation, and your questions.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seemed impossible to face, and when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. I just one look at you, and I know it's gonna